Manchester City, of course, closing the gap. Are you all right?
Wake us up.
Closing the gap on Crystal Palace, who haven't had a shot on target in their last 3 matches now. It would be an Erling Haaland penalty that would prove to be decisive with 12 minutes to go. Just a reminder of what that means. As it stands then, City are 2 points off Arsenal at the top. This was a really hard watch, wasn't it?
It was a good game to have a nap.
It really was. It was that sort of time of day as well, post-lunch.
Haaland missed a chance in the first half from 6 yards or so, scooped it over.
But this isn't the first time we've seen City do this. Like, what's going on?
Well, they won. And they might win the Champions League playing this way, which is not as exciting and swashbuckling as it's been in recent years. And it is, actually, and I know Frank Leboeuf goes on about it a lot, how it is pretty boring.
Yeah.
And it was only really think about it, it was a Crystal Palace mistake was the difference between the sides. When they switch off from the corner kick, go to sleep, Gundogan picks it up and there's a stupid challenge and they get a penalty which Haaland slots away. That really was the difference. I mean, don't get me wrong, they never looked as if they were going to lose the game, City.
No, but there were times you thought, well, how are they going to break through here?
Yeah.
But Steve, when you've got Foden, Grealish, Haaland, Silva, all that attacking talent, how can it be so dull?
Because they have this thing in their head that, possession is more important. So when your mind's in just about possession for possession's sake, you're not trying to go forward at any sort of pace. And when you're Man City, the majority of teams you play are sitting back and getting men behind the ball. So if you don't move the ball quickly and you're going from side to side, then by the time you get to the edge of the box, there's nowhere to go. So to me, that's all they do. And even when the opposition, on the odd occasion, do come out and try and play against them, as soon as they win it back, they don't look forward. Everything is, let's keep it, let's let them all get back, and then we'll start passing it around again. It's just monotonous.
I mean, if they lose the league this year, which is possible, and don't win the Champions League, I think because of the style and the sort of pedestrian elements of a lot of their games, there'll be a lot of questions coming his way.
Definitely.
A lot of questions, particularly with the signing of Haaland, particularly with the form and, chopping of the team around and Cancelo leaving as well, and sort of De Bruyne been on the bench as he's been before and he was again today. There's a lot of pressure on him this year. Well, not that there's not usually, but I think even more so because
it looks stale, doesn't it?
I always like watching Man City, but it is. I don't enjoy watching them.
Yeah. Don, are we being too harsh?
No, I feel the same. I think when you watch Man City, I wonder if it's in the players' heads because you've got Erling Haaland at the top end of the pitch, who's just an absolute goal machine. But I think the area that he needs a lot of work on is his link-up play. And whether the system or the personnel don't quite trust him to link the play, they're more concentrated on getting their passes in and around Grealish or Foden or De Bruyne and then trying to work that final ball for the final pass for Haaland. Maybe that's took an edge away from them. But you're right, when you watch them, we've seen City beat the likes of Watford 8 and we've seen 6s and 7s. At the minute, listen, I can remember Newcastle in 96 when they were 12 points clear and Man United had about 10 games to go and they won every single game 1-0 and won the title. So if you ask City fans, they're okay, but they're just a strange watch for the type of football that Guardiola normally plays.
It's almost like he wants to be more solid. I've talked about this at the back. When they had the ball today, they've almost got to a back 3 and then that's the kind of shape they have on possession and then it changes to a back 4 when John Stones comes in. But you've got Stones on one side and Ake on the other. I mean, that's not... I know Walker was left on the bench today, came on. That's not the kind of full-backs that are personnel playing in those positions that Guardiola was using in the last couple of years. It's just not.
Yeah.
You're going to get a little bit from those guys, but you're not getting what you were getting from Walker, Cancelo and Zinchenko. So there's definitely been a sea change. It's almost like, we were caught with our pants down too many times going forward. I want some more defensive...
So is that why he keeps telling all the fullbacks to get in the middle? Because I can't figure this out.
They didn't really do it today.
Stones was in the middle a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Stones was in the middle a lot.
Yeah.
And if I'm the opposition, I think I'm quite happy. Because if you're putting men in the middle, if you're adding Stones to Rodri and Gundogan as well, and you've got other players coming inside, if I'm the opposition, defensively I'm quite happy. You're right in the middle of the park, whereas all the numbers are. I'm fine. What I don't want is leaving space wide for people like Grealish and Foden to run at me. So I'm quite happy if you want to load the middle.
But it's
and
working.
slow everything down.
Well, I say working.
Well, they're getting away with it.
To an extent, it's working at the moment.
Yeah, they've got Leipzig, of course, in the Champions League coming up this
not
week.
Meanwhile,
For Crystal Palace, they're in trouble, just 5 points out of the last 30 they've occurred, which means that they currently sit 12th in the table, which you would think would be all right. But look at how incredibly close it is. Obviously, we saw Leeds draw with Brighton today. Everton with a big win against Brentford takes them out of the relegation zone. Southampton sitting there at the moment with Leeds and West Ham. Don, it's so tight down there, isn't it?
It's incredible. I've been there myself, Dan, and when you're down there, you know, if you can get a win and a draw, even better, back-to-back wins, you can climb from being bottom of the league up to about 12th. And Palace are drifting, Leicester are drifting. I think West Ham, who are third bottom, might just be fine. I've got a pretty good idea, a hunch who's going to go down. I think that's Southampton, Leeds and Bournemouth, but you can't say for sure because, you know, the couple of performances that Bournemouth's put in, you give them a little bit of hope because of what they're doing. They're not getting battered every week. But there's teams drifting. As I said, Palace and Leicester worry me. But when you're down there, Dan, if you can nick a win, if you can nick a draw and put something together, if you've got like a little block of fixtures and you go, right, let's get a couple of wins in the next 4 games, it can take you so far up the league in terms of the positions, not in terms of numbers, because this is going to be tight from now to the end of the season.
It really is, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of nervous players, managers, fans between now and the end of the campaign.
They've almost all changed the manager. I mean, West Ham haven't, but Leeds have, Southampton have, Everton have.
You wonder what's going to happen with Vieira at the moment.
I think he'll be okay. I think they've had a struggle, as you mentioned, of late. I actually think Palace will be okay.
What about Leicester? What about Rodgers?
Leicester defensively.
1 point off the bottom.
Defensively, Leicester have had a shocker, and not just today, where they could have lost 5 or 6. Could have scored as well. I mean, they're a threat going forward, but they're a shambles at the back. And they're in free fall. I mean, proper free fall. Knocked out of the cup by Championship Blackburn. You know, beaten again today.
Maddison limped off today.
Yep. It was actually a bad challenge on Maddison, so he looked as if he was struggling. But yeah, you know, I have no idea at the moment. I think Forrest will get dragged back down further into it. That's going to go right to the wire for them.
Yeah.
He's going to be chopping and changing his team. He's got so many players to pick from, and he's got so many conundrums to try and get the right team on the field to get the right result, just to get them safe. And at the moment, they're struggling. So yeah, maybe up to Palace. I think Palace will be okay though.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.